Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Gear There and Everywhere. I'm welcomed by my co-host, Ryan, Sam, Dom, Michael, and we have a special guest back on, as always, Mr. Perry Stanley. Welcome, everybody.
Hey.
Excited to be here.
What up?
So why are we here? Let's talk about why we're here.
This is an emergency episode, like Paul's Cavern Base.
Perry is holding the key to all of your questions of what this episode is. Perry, maybe say something so it points to you.
Something. No, it's not doing anything. Framus Hootenanny was found. After all these years, the mystery is solved. It was in somebody's attic, and we're going to talk about that, which is amazing. It's a miracle that this thing came to light.
Yeah, I think viewers will have just seen a clip of Dom or me saying that it's surely destroyed by now from a previous episode.
From like the last episode before this.
Yeah.
I take it back. I was wrong.
It's a damn
All right,
miracle that these two have turned up in the past like 2 months after 50
funny
years
that-
of being missing.
The cheapest ones.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
They were.
Well,
I
that's
guess
why
they
they
were
didn't.
sturdier than we imagined.
That's why they didn't
Yeah.
trade hands, I guess. I
Are
mean,
these both German companies, Hofner and is Framus German?
yeah.
Those Germans, they know their stuff.
Well, so where do we want to start with this?
With one major exception.
Well, I think Perry summed up the
Well-
episode. I say we just wrap it up from here. All right, guys.
Oh.
Thanks for watching. They found it.
So, well, let's start with who had it. Which, I mean, this is kind of funnier, a lot funnier than the the Hofner, because it wasn't stolen. It didn't really trade hands very much. It was supposedly given to Gordon Waller, Peter and Gordon, by John in like late '65. Was it December '65? And then Gordon, I guess it went from him to their manager at some point. And then maybe, was it their manager's kid that had it, or is that right?
Well, it was up in the attic, and they were moving, and that's when they discovered it in the attic. And he had heard that they had a John Lennon guitar, but he had never seen it before. And somehow, I guess they got a hold of the people at Julian's, who came out to England to see it, and they had thrown the case. They had thrown the case in a dumpster. They used the word skiff or something.
My
I guess
gosh.
that's a dumpster. And because it was an old beat up case, so they threw out the case, and the guys from Julian said, "Where is it?" And they got it out of the dumpster or whatever a skiff is, and it was part of the story, obviously, because the pictures you can see of the Hootenanny in the studio have that Maton or Maton, however you pronounce it, case on the floor, and many rubber sole photos in the studio.
Which I think is funny because that case is in like fantastic condition, and they don't say anything about them redoing the case or anything. So I would imagine that they probably just pulled it out of the trash and maybe cleaned it up and all that, maybe glued down a few quick spots. But that case is in fantastic condition. I have ones that are in like 1,000 times worse condition.
Paul, I saw when they were holding the guitar and they had the case, it looked like there was a rip seam right along the edge on the bottom of it. So I don't know whether it's that good in condition, and the people thought it was in horrible condition. That's why they threw it out.
It looked good to me.
So, yeah, well, I would take it.
Yeah.
I believe a skip is actually a trash truck in England. So it was, maybe even on its way to its doom.
Oh my God, they were able to get it before it left.
Man.
I mean, if you think about it too, that adds value to the guitar, especially seeing the photos of it on the ground in the sessions. I mean, to me, it's just like that's just the putting on top of the cake. If they didn't have it, the guitar would sell. But with it, it's like, oh wow, this is crazy.
I think it's interesting though that the guitar case itself is very distinct because it has that name on it and is very easily identified in the pictures.
Do we even know, does Framus make hard cases? Or did they?
I don't know.
Are they still in business? Do they still make guitars?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's time for a reissue.
look.
Yeah, they might reissue
I'll
it.
look.
Yeah, they've been saying that for years, Michael, but they're mostly electric guitars.
I mean, Dom said they're reissuing the Futurama, so this seems a little bit more.
That was
valuable.
like in 2019. I don't know whatever happened with that.
There was some dude in France who actually remade a Framus, literally like a luthier in France. And I remember seeing that he, made a brand new Framus based on the design. But it wasn't a real Framus because it wasn't made by the Framus company. But it looked pretty good.
That's cool.
Just to zoom out a bit, it is an iconic Beatles guitar. Like, I think even more so than maybe the cavern bass. Like, that was used on Beatles records, but early on. This is on Help, one of their biggest hits.
In the
It's
movie,
on-
too.
Yeah.
In the movie.
In the movie, you've got To Hide Your Love Away.
It's a
Right.
movie.
Yeah, you've got To Hide Your Love Away, Norwegian Wood, and, maybe It's Only Love and Girl.
Yeah, Help and Norwegian Wood are definitely the big hitters of what it's on. And I guess the other thing to note is that it's George playing it probably on Norwegian Wood. And so that's
Absolutely.
that on its own, the fact that they both played it on a record is pretty rare. And that, I don't know, is that only really true of like the J160 outside of that? Maybe one of the casinos. Besides that, it's probably, yeah.
I think
that's
it
kind of
falls down
interesting.
the shape. It's an
And the
iconic
Fender
shape,
6.
the Hofner. That's why everybody wanted the Cavern, because we're used to it. We're like, oh, wow, that's cool. I mean, the Framus, nobody really associates that with the Beatles too much when they see it,
Yeah.
even though it's popular with them. But it's just a shape,
And like the Hofner turned up later on in the Get Back sessions, like we had seen it throughout their career. Like the Framus shows up in Help and Rubber Soul and then falls off the face of the earth. We all thought it was gone.
Yeah, so maybe we should start there. We said it starts in Help, or it's in Help and Rubber Soul. There's one song that's before that has a 12-string acoustic on it, which is I'm a Loser. And it's after the first two takes, which are on a J160, presumably. Then it switches over to a 12-string, which everyone has said is the Framus. But there's a bit of a confusion here because it surfaced, because while at Perry Takeover, Perry understands the naming or the dating system that's on the stamp inside that tells us when it's from.
Yeah, so we looked at the label that, when you go to the video, the Julian's video of the Hootenanny, there's a brief moment where they go across the sound hole and you can see the label. And the markings on the label are very faint, but you can clearly see the L. We found a photo. I think Ryan found a photo that was
Yeah, I'll
a
pull it
lot
up.
clearer than the one that I had. Yeah, and so there's an L. L and M denote December, and you can clearly see that it was a 64. It said 4. It's usually stamped 6/4 if it's a 64, and then whatever month it was. So my Framus Hootenanny is 64M, which is also December. L and M were December. Lennon's had the L, and so it's a December of 64 guitar. And the guys at Julian's did mention it was a 64. But you can see it in the label.
And you also made that chart to Perry that I'm sure Ryan, post that it will throw up on the screen.
In my Hootenanny video, I had already gone over how to date your Hootenanny or your Framus guitar, and I got that from the Framus Museum website, and then I made photoshopped a little chart, so we have that too, to show the dates of it. So it's stamped with the year, and then you'll see, according to the chart, what month it is based on what letter is used, and then you'll see sometimes at the top you'll see an EX, which I don't know for sure. I think it stands for export. I don't know what that is.
It's a similar system to Fender amps. If you look in the tube chart, there's like each month has a letter like L or M. So
Right.
What's significant about what Perry's saying is Perry's Framuses are December 64, and it looks like John's is actually a December 64 as well. The month maybe is up for debate, but it's interesting because I'm a Loser was recorded in, what was it?
In August.
October or August 64. So that might make it not the Framus on that recording, which is really interesting.
The label is either wrong, and like they were putting stuff on there early, and maybe John somehow happened to get it before it was supposed to be for sale, or who knows. So there's a possibility of some weird case like that, but if it is the date that it says on the label, then it's definitely not on I'm a Loser because it would have been recorded several months earlier.
Do we want to try playing the audio to see if we can tell sonically if there's a difference?
Yeah, we can try.
Yeah, Paul made a good point that, maybe they were labeling it for distribution, so that when it went out, that would be the date of it going out, and that's the date you see on the thing. I don't know for sure, but
Yeah, like maybe Framus like sent it to him after it was made, and it was supposed to get sent along a normal channel and get there like 5 months later if it was going to be sent in retail. But like, there's no history of any of that, so it's kind of up in the air.
It's just because of cars, like you can buy a 2025 car right now, and you look at like there's so many things with cars and how they date the production that it kind of could fall into with the guitars. Maybe that country or that time they were like, oh, we're gonna do this, that. There's so many things that could go into it.
that's a really great example because I bought a Toyota Celica in 1999, and it was a 2000 model. That's a really good example.
What's even more interesting is that, Perry, you have two Framuses, right? And they're both December 64, which is just coincidence, right?
Maybe they only made December 64 ones. The other months weren't real.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll play the audio from that real quick.
And just to confirm, there are no pictures of that session that show any 12-string acoustic either way, right?
No, there's not.
Okay.
It does sound like he starts with the J160 in the first take.
Yeah, so this is J160.
I'm a loser, take one.
Yeah, that's the J160.
Is it possible they doubled the J160? And
No,
because
because it's on multiple takes. Yeah,
See
so
that jangle sound right there? That sounds just like the
Janky.
part he gets right into.
well, that's you can hear the difference. So
1, 2, 1, 2.
So that's still J160. And then take
Yeah,
three.
that's
it switches
J160.
over.
Take three.
Okay, George. How's it? I'm a loser. Okay. Oh. I'm a loser.
That's the 12.
Yeah, that's a 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a loser.
You can actually really tell because when he's going, strumming each string, it kind of doubles like.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a loser.
Definitely seems pretty obvious when it switches over to 12 string.
So for the owner of the Framus, who's here, what do you think?
Well, you won't be able to hear me if I strum it, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
So what are the chords of I'm a
A
Loser?
minor and D.
D7th?
No, just D. Yeah.
Okay.
And then A minor, F, D.
All right, so I strummed it a little bit. I don't know. I never really got into that debate about whether it was 12 string or J160E.
Here's a question, maybe. Did Johns have a strap on it? Ever?
Because they'd be standing.
Yeah, because he would have been standing with the acoustic at a Neumann.
That's a great
Right.
question.
I don't think we
Well,
ever...
there is an end pin.
Oh, there's
There's a pin.
There's an end pin.
He would have had to do it the way he did the J160 with it wrapped around the headstock, right?
Right.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah,
real quick
most likely.
before we turn this into a I'm a Loser episode instead of the Hootenanny Fine, I'm just gonna say, I think the intro really is the 12-string, the Framus. But when the song starts, I still think the 12 strings there, but I think they also have the J160E on top. I don't care what anybody
There's a
says. I
strap
hear
on
the
it.
J160E. I hear it as soon as it gets into as soon as the song starts up. I hear the clanking.
Well, that's another discussion. So we'll leave that for a different episode.
We'll save it.
But
But there's
anyways,
definitely a 12 string.
The Hootenanny's found. That's crazy. All right,
so
that's pretty cool.
either
It's a miracle.
it's either something else or the date's wrong. It seems more likely the date's just wrong on the inside.
And there's no evidence of another 12-string guitar
No.
that we know of around the same time.
Nope.
So probably the Hootenanny.
Yeah, so the next photos that show up are the one set of Help session photos. There's not very many Help session photos.
And these are the earliest
But-
photos we have of it. Right?
John
There we
picking his
go.
nose.
There's only like 2 photos. So this is the day they did You're Gonna Lose That Girl, February 19th. And you can see it on the ground next to George leaning on the chair. So that just shows it was around...
The earliest Help sessions it was around.
Is that the earliest session? I don't actually know.
Well, the pictures at least. I think that's the earliest picture I think "Ticket to Ride" was actually the first song they tackled, but yeah.
Let's see. And then obviously we know it's on Help, and Help is an interesting case because I think people often get the story of I'm a Loser and Help a little confused because there is a bit in the Help audio where John says like something about breaking a string, but I think he was already using the 12 string, and I think he just continues using it. I don't know, should I play that?
That was
Yeah.
Sure.
I think he may restring it between
Yeah,
takes.
that's sort of what it seems
Well,
like.
Mal, it would have been their roadie.
So here's take 1.
Help! Take 1.
I always love George Martin really getting into the exclamation point of the song title.
that wasn't George Martin.
It is funny hearing George struggle on that part.
Yeah. I think that's an overdub.
I believe it's take 2 where John.
Yeah, it definitely
Singers
is.
this up.
They slowed it down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's painful.
Oh, maybe it's not that one. Maybe it's a little later. Oh, I guess it was just at the end of take 1. All right, let's try that again. Is that all?
2.
There you go. That's why it got cut weird. Okay. Yeah.
2.
So I guess he restrings between takes or something.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to make a YouTube video. Beetle break string.
No one heard what he said. He says it again in the background there.
It's gonna get
He says, "Turn it off. I
600,000
snapped a
views,
string" or
Paul.
something. It might be Ringo saying it actually. Yeah. Then it cuts and then it starts again. So, anyways, interesting to hear. That's probably the most, I don't know, diversity of sound we're gonna hear for that song because you hear him strumming different ways and then like messing with the tuners and tapping the side of the body and all that. So, that's probably the most notable one it's on.
What's next after Help? Hydro Level
Well,
A?
let's pause for a second because it is the most iconic use of the guitar.
You're right,
I think.
you're
And why do you guys think he chose a 12-string acoustic for a up-tempo single? It's kind of a hybrid between folk rock and up-tempo rock and roll.
I was going to say it has probably something to do with the folk rock movement at the time.
Well,
'cause
it
it was huge.
Hadn't happened
which
yet.
is why
Birds hadn't come out
it
yet.
was yeah, but Dylan was there.
Bob
Dylan
Dylan.
was doing
Yeah.
New York City, and it was very, very popular. The whole Greenwich Village movement in '63, even. So, the whole idea of the campuses and people playing on campuses and all of that stuff. We talked about the idea that Paul is holding a campus king. It's called 2 things: either a campus king. And there was another word for it, I can't remember, camping king. So, the whole idea of college campuses and the whole folk movement was huge. And, Dylan was the forerunner of all that.
He even
And
influenced
the Beatles.
I'm a Loser was influenced by Dylan, actually.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, very famously, John admitted that he was basically doing Dylan and You've Got to Hide Your Love Away.
Right. Exactly.
I'm a Loser also has the same strumming pattern as Help. Jing, 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 jing.
Yeah, interesting.
There's a story of George playing with a 12-string acoustic, I think in '63. Are you guys aware of that? He was in
No.
some type of dressing room, and said like it sounded like playing an organ. He was so overwhelmed by it. I'll have to find it. So they were aware of 12-string acoustics, and at least George was fascinated by it.
Yeah, the whole folk thing was like Pete Seeger was using a 12-string acoustic, and Joan Baez, yeah.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
It'd be interesting to see. There's various photos of them at their houses, like with albums that they're listening to at the time. It'd be interesting to see how many of those would have had like a 12-string acoustic on them at some point. So yeah, what's next? I guess the other help stuff is You've Got to Hide Your Love Away and It's Only Love. Those are the only. And I've Just Seen a Face.
Mm-hmm.
All very folky songs. Yeah.
And it's most likely just based on the. I'll show the photos from the movie. For You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, it's, I mean, presumably John playing it. It's a fantastic photo right there. Let's see what else we have here. I can just quickly go through these.
Hey, wait, what does that autograph photo say? I've never seen that one before. Go back down. I've never seen that photo before.
Clive Davis.
Bite.
To Gordon, here's my acoustic 12-string.
It will resurface
I don't know what
55
that
years
says.
from today.
Good photo, though.
But yeah, it's obviously oh, that's cool. I don't think I've ever seen a photo of them clipping the string ends before.
No, I know. But at the same time, I do want to say that I feel like, because I brought up my Beatles string video, they did change the strings themselves more than what we know. I feel like later on, Mal took over the strings more, but early on, I feel like they did the string stuff.
There's a photo
you can see Harrison doing it.
Yeah.
There's a photo in 64 of Mal changing strings for Babies in Black.
I don't know. It's 50-50.
I just
then,
read
guess.
the Mal book, and there's one part where it says that in '68, Mal was at his house and got a phone call that George broke a string, so he had to go over, and not even in the studio, just like he had to travel 25 minutes just to change one string.
That I believe. I believe later on they completely stopped, because then George had his tech later on, blah, 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 yeah. Anywho. So, yeah, we
Great
see
pictures.
with Hootenanny. Oh, yeah, fantastic.
So is your Hootenanny, Perry, it's, I presume, a lot more not this color on the top? It's probably
A lot more
faded.
what?
Is it quite faded on the top? I'm just curious the color
No,
difference.
it's
Okay,
no,
it's just a little yellow.
yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's actually
Probably the lighting.
there's no checking on it. My other one, there's
Really?
a ton of checking.
John's, I feel like you almost can't even tell that there's like
That's
a
remarkable.
laminate or whatever on it. It's interesting.
No checking, and it's a 60-year-old guitar.
Yeah, this is the one that's in Beatles gear. My other one, the one that I got for $75 originally, that one's tons of checking, and but still,
It's
it sounds
incredible.
great, plays great, looks great.
Go back up real quick. Go up just a few photos. It looks like right there.
This one?
Yeah. Okay, never mind. So after this, what do we see? This is basically it for help.
So
terms
this
of
is
us
actually
seeing
this is actually recorded. This scene was recorded in May, so this is a bit later. There's actually photos of it a little bit before, in March 23rd. This is when George and Patty went and visited John at his house, and I guess there's the floor plan of his house, and so it's him and Cynthia and Julian just hanging out, and you can see it's leaning up against the couch there, and I can't remember if George also plays it when they're. So George has this. Is this the Ramirez or is this something else? John owned one as well, right? They both owned a nylon string acoustic.
Yeah, the Ramirez 1A, I think it was.
Yeah, so they're both just playing both of them. So those are some cool photos.
But John's had a squared off bridge, whereas George's was rounded.
Okay,
It's easy to see George's when it's rounded, the bridge.
Yeah.
so this is George's, you're saying?
If it's rounded, I can't really see from here, but if
It's
it's rounded,
George's.
it's George's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it.
That's interesting.
It's a very distinct bridge that you don't really see on any other Ramirez.
But yeah, this is some cool set of photos. I just happened to have it in there.
Wondering if we could go to Perry's. If Perry could show his close-ups, and we can kind of talk about the specs, because it's a small body, right?
I guess so. I mean, I in terms of, yeah, it's smaller than like a D28 Martin for sure. Yeah, like a regular Dreadnought. See if I can get it closer to the camera there. And then there are the mahogany sides and back. And we talked about the scarf joint too, which is kind of weird, but. And then the chiclet tuners. The tuners are very distinct because they're like chiclets, the gum. Here's what the back looks like of the tuners.
And
then the floating bridge, you know.
Yeah. I
The
love
floating
the little
bridge is
triangle thing there.
what triangle thing?
On the trapeze, the little like decorative thing there.
Oh yeah, the engraving here, right? The cool thing about this is just a fret wire for the bridge.
Oh wow!
It's just a piece of fret wire in there. A lot of people don't know that. And it's got the like the Gretsch has. If you look up by the nut, it's got a fret there, the 0 fret.
Yeah, it's the thing we didn't mention yet is how cheap this thing was compared to the other guitars the Beatles were buying.
Yeah.
So like, Beatles Gear says that it sold in the UK for about £42, which was like $120 at the time, which I think Dom said was like $1,300 in today's money.
Yeah, I did the conversion before we started. It was like $13.80 or something like that.
Whereas at the same time, Paul was buying the Casino for like the equivalent of like what $5,000 or $6,000. Yeah. So this thing was dirt cheap compared to the other stuff they had.
I found the quote I was looking for, by the way. This may backtrack in the history, so I'm sorry for going out of order. But this refers to George Harrison's first use of an acoustic 12-string. This is from Beatles Gear, page 195. Not very Giga Chad of me, but I'm going to look at the book. Harrison's apparent instant love for the 12-string may have had earlier origins. He first tried out an acoustic 12-string guitar back in the early part of 1963. In an interview with a British music paper at the time, he explained, "When we were at the Albert Hall, Tom Springfield of the Springfields had a big 12-string guitar, which he had had made for him in Liverpool by Stan Francis. I asked if I could have a go, borrowed it, sat in the dressing room all afternoon playing it. What a sound on it." So this is 63. Already their fascination with 12-string acoustics had begun.
So he was playing Tom Springfield's one?
Correct, in the dressing room.
Oh, that's cool. Actually,
just messing around with it.
Let me see real quick, because I know...
There's definitely pictures of that, because the Island of Dreams...
Yeah, that's why I was going to pull up the video of Island of Dreams.
It's a great song.
Yeah, and Dusty Springfield's on it, who they later met at...
Yeah, it's Dusty's brother, right?
Yeah,
Tom
this
Springfield.
This one probably is a little better, maybe? Can't tell. Oh, no. Let's do this one.
A song which we're very happy is a hit
Tom
for us
Springfield
in
also wrote
England.
Georgie
We
Girl
hope you
for the
like it.
Seekers.
It's called Island of Dreams.
That's probably it. The thing is big.
Some great vocals on this one. That's pretty cool to see that video.
Reminds me of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Yeah.
Totally.
But,
and that would have been the guitar
Yeah.
that George played. That's cool.
Huh. Yeah, I'd never heard that quote before. That's really cool.
I wanted to quickly just talk about, for people who don't know about 12-string acoustics, because this is not a hootenanny, but the order of the octave strings is first octave, then the normal string, whereas on a Rickenbacker, like George's Electric, it would go normal and then octave. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. And there's, I think...
Look at me.
A lot
When
of
you
people
say normal, do you mean doubled? Do you just mean doubled string, or do you mean, because there's the octave strings where you have the lower octave in one, and then
Right.
the higher
So
octave, and then
The B
there's
and E
same
strings
string is what you
are
mean.
Double.
Are
Yeah,
the
yes.
same? Yeah.
So when I say normal, I mean the one that's not an octave on the E,
Right.
A, D, G, but the high
Gotcha.
B and E strings, yeah, were
Are
double.
just similar, the same string, basically.
Right, right.
Yeah, and for
Just to
those of
clear
you that don't play guitar, especially, a lot of guitarists will say that the having it the way that with the octave string first is, you want that because it gets the octave string to ring out. And if you play, I don't know, a certain way on a Rickenbacker, sometimes people get annoyed because they only hear that lower string because the other one doesn't get hit as hard. So
You know what? Comment below if you're still watching this video and you've already been this far. Comment below. Let us know if you do play guitar. I'd be interested to see if somebody watched this show and didn't play any kind of an instrument or, at least guitar. I mean,
yeah, as soon as I said that, I thought, wait, there's probably not anyone here that doesn't play
probably
guitar.
not, no. But,
But
it'd be
if
I'm
there's-
sure we have some like drummers or bass players
Yeah.
or just Beatles fans too.
Yep. So I guess that could count.
That would be
too.
interesting.
Yeah, so.
If you don't play guitar, leave. We don't want you.
Yes.
Stop watching.
Get out.
We're elitists here.
In the last 2 years, how many guitars are found now?
Like Beatles guitars?
Yeah. So how long ago was it that they found the J160, the 62?
That was like
About 10
a
years,
decade
10 years
ago.
2016, something like that,
15.
I want to say.
It was 15.
Okay, so then the Nashville was found.
I don't think that was
And
ever really
then-
technically lost.
It wasn't really found. That one was just owned by his cousin, and he just knew about it, but didn't auction it off till later.
Yeah.
Did we all know that the cousin had it at that time? Or
Yeah, I
it
think
just
so,
came up
yeah.
and-
I saw it in Beatles gear for the first time.
I think I barely
I didn't
knew
know
about
about
the Beatles when that one got sold.
I don't think that was in the first edition of Beatles Gear.
No,
Like,
it
the
wasn't.
Framus wasn't either.
Right.
I don't think that one had a big mystery though. That wasn't like a cavern or like the J160. That was kind of like known.
It was March
Same with the Hootenanny, though.
2015-ish. I see an article about it from 2015. So it was
I
either
foresee another
Yeah.
edition of the Beatles Gear book with the real Framus Hootenanny in it now.
and the
the
cavern
cavern.
bass. There was
We're
another
waiting.
story about a harmonica surfacing too. Anybody read that?
Oh, that was
John's
April Fool's.
harmonica?
Oh,
the
that was
John
yes.
harmonica.
That was
Is that bullshit or is
April
that real?
Fools.
That
That
was
came
BS.
out on April Fool's
Totally.
Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I was pissed
Fuck.
about that too. I hate April Fools. What complete waste of time.
stupid.
People
Oh, such a
fell for
stupid.
it.
Get rid of that. Get rid of it.
On Instagram, April Fool's this year, it said Paul and Ringo are going on tour in 2025, and it broke my heart.
Yeah, I know. Stupid crap like that sucks. So, anyways, I know usually I'm not a big talker about the songs, but I want to get back now into the last phase that we see the acoustic. We haven't gotten into Rubber Soul, which is Perry's favorite album. Come on, we haven't even got there yet.
Yes. That's no one else's favorite album here?
It's mine too.
I like
Oh,
it. I think
absolutely.
it's great. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was alone for a second there.
on some
way.
days it's my favorite. When I'm feeling
Did we
a little
talk
more
about
acoustic.
I've Just Seen a Face? It's Only Love. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
we went
do you
through
want-
it.
let me play a few clips of I've Just Seen a Face. Yeah.
One of my favorite intros of all time.
Do you think they came up with that or George Martin? Because it doesn't fit the rest of the song, and it's like majestic. I thought that was George Martin.
I don't know whether it was George Martin, but I could definitely see Martin saying, it's not good enough to start the song with just the verse. We need an intro. I can see him
Yes.
saying that, and then I could see maybe McCartney working something out because McCartney's
Yeah.
clever enough to do that.
And that was the song he would play. That was like Auntie Jin's theme, I think. He would just play
Yeah.
it around his family. So it wasn't obviously a full composition until he came to the studio
Yeah.
to record it. Yeah. It's an awesome intro.
Yeah, I think so. The other thing I wanted to mention, we were talking about the folk movement at this time in 1965, and literally with Dylan in '63 and on, was that there are two versions of Rubber Soul. One is the American version, which is more geared toward the folk movement, and then there's the British version of Rubber Soul, which has songs that don't appear, like Nowhere Man on the American version. And it's interesting because the American version is much more acoustically oriented than the British version, just to sort of cater to what was going on in America, I think, at the time. And I've always, because I heard that as a kid, the American version, I didn't even know there was a British version until years later.
It opens up with "I've Just Seen a Face," doesn't it? That's the first song.
Yeah,
on
it
the
does.
album, the American.
Yeah,
song.
what does the British version start with?
Drive My Car.
Drive My Car.
Yeah, and that's not on the American version either.
At all.
It is amazing how the folk movement influenced the Beatles, but the Beatles almost created the folk rock movement too with the 12-string electric. If you listen to the intro of What You're Doing, it's Mr. Tambourine Man. It's the exact same riff. So it was very much influencing everybody. Everything's in the air. Things are going back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, the Byrds went to see Hard Day's Night, and that's what made them go buy the Rickenbacker. So,
And the Gretsch too, I think. Yeah.
And the Tennessean. Let's see, just to fill it out here, we might as well listen to a little bit from It's Only Love, which this one, I've always liked it. It's one of my most viewed videos on my channel. John was not a fan of this one, at least later on. He said he thought it was kind of garbage, right?
It was the last love song he consciously wrote, I think. He said he was done with it after this song.
Here we go. And so, let me just point out, it's probably the J160 at the beginning, and then I'm assuming George this time on the 12 string.
With a capo on the
Cut it
5th
off
fret.
the best part.
Yeah, that one doesn't get enough love.
And it was definitely not a Leslie on that one.
That's, oh my gosh.
Ditto.
Anywho, we go on to Rubber Soul from here.
And then we have another George playing the Framus on Norwegian Wood, which is the other biggest one that it's on.
Which Perry nailed on our collaboration with Sam, and when Sam nailed the sitar as well.
Everybody nailed it. You nailed it too, Mike.
You guys both nailed it.
That part's definitely
We all
like
nail.
not something like to the non-Beatles, like like huge Beatles fan. If you just played that 12-string part, you probably wouldn't know what song it was from.
It's mixed really, really low in the track. But without it, when you put it in, you're like, oh, there it is. Yeah, I get it. But without it, it's not the same. It's interesting because I never knew it was on there.
We have to give Dom that credit too. Dom put together his video, which taught us how to do that part.
It's
That's
not
right.
it's not an overdub. It's on the basic track. Is that right?
I don't know.
Let me see if I can.
Although
find
the
it.
first track was John playing the, because there's an outtake of John doing a take where he's just singing to the guitar, nothing else. So I think everything after the acoustic was overdubbed.
Oh, that's interesting. They tried it a different way right there.
That's the 12, isn't it?
Yeah, the 12's
Yeah.
copying the riff.
With the
Let me.
Yeah,
I can
and they also
ice-
played in a different key too. The first key was D, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, let me isolate this for you guys.
And there's one where George is still kind of figuring out the sitar.
Mm. Yeah, it's too much. It's too sloppy with it. It's too
Yes.
sloppy with the 12 string all the way through.
And then after that, yeah, then this version got scrapped.
It didn't really work in D. It had to be in E.
Yeah,
It didn't
isn't
come
that
alive
interesting
until
how
they raised the pitch.
It's amazing how the key change really makes a difference sometimes.
Exactly.
Mo-
Yeah.
Mozart used to write in C a lot because he felt it was a brighter key and happier.
Real quick, let me just see if there's any overdubs where you can hear just this bit. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps time. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It keeps the 3, 4 time
maybe it's on
all
one
the
of
way
these other
through,
ones.
basically.
Yeah.
And then it does do the riff, but not with chords. It does the notes singly when it does the riff.
Right.
I'm trying to see if it's more audible on one of
And
these.
you guys do hear what he's playing, right? He's playing.
It's just doing like a
this.
drone octave kind of thing.
Well, Paul, what he's doing, I see what you're doing.
That's what he's
not
playing.
Hitting that. He's not hitting the high B.
Yeah, Sam's got
Yep.
it. Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It kind of blends with the sitar too.
Well, that's the thing with sitar is the string on the top of the sitar, the one that you hit with your thumb, is kind of a rhythmic one that you kind of do the fifths or the root as you're kind of riffing.
He actually also followed the melody too when he was doing that.
Because those...
He kept it going like that, and he followed the riff.
On the isolated, all I hear him is just holding that. When I did a cover of it, that's all I did in the background. Because on the isolated, that's all you hear. He's just going with that, just hitting that constantly and just going.
I think
for
that
it.
is most of it. Yeah.
Most of it.
Dom, how
it
did
is.
you do your research for your video? What did you listen to when you
Isolated,
decoded this?
just a bunch of isolated. That was it. I kept going back and forth. All these things that you hear.
I said Dom, Giga Chad. I'm
Oh, you
talking
said
to Dom.
John? I thought you said me. Oh, I did. I went.
I thought you
crazy
said
trying
Paul,
to
too.
figure it out. Yeah, I went
Very
crazy.
alpha move.
I listened to the isolated tracks. I have a couple of files saved from years ago, but I found out.
I could listen to your cover, Dom. I didn't know you did it.
Well, what he's doing? Because I see what you were doing, Paul. You're going. I could turn my. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Paul, you're going like this. You're hitting that
Yeah.
high B at the 7th
Yeah.
fret. What he's doing actually, because it's capo on the 2nd fret. So pretend my index fingers are capo. He's alternating between the D and the G string.
Yeah.
But because it's an octave, it sounds like he's hitting that.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I don't hear that though. If I play that on the 12th string in front of me, I don't get that same sound that you hear in the.
Yeah, it's just this. It's the.
But you really
You hear that.
you have to emphasize it. You
So
have
if
to
you listen-
emphasize that.
If you listen,
And he
to
does it very staccato in the beginning, and then gets a little bit
Yeah.
more legato.
But yeah, and exactly. So if you listen to it, it goes. Anyways, well, let's save that for another day too, because like I said, the isolated I was listening to, I hear the switch, and I could hear that constantly through it. But
Right.
anyways, let's go back to the Hootenanny, and we didn't even show. I want to show the pictures of where
Yeah.
the case is on the ground and all that.
Yeah.
That session.
Let me pull that up.
So what was that from? Wasn't that Rubber
So
Soul?
that's it's Rubber Soul, but it's from the day they did Michelle.
Yeah. So they must
Michelle.
have experimented with it.
Well, they
Yeah,
have every
must have
guitar they
experimented.
owned out that day, so it's not. Yeah.
And that was the day that Paul put the capo on the Rickenbacker too, right?
Yeah.
On the bass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably on the record, the capo.
Yeah.
But you can see
So I
John
think that-
using.
It's George has it there.
Yeah, they
with the
Yeah, they're
strap on
trying it out, but it didn't work.
yeah. So they.
So there was a strap on it.
I mean, they've got like I said, every
Yeah.
guitar they owned out at this point.
Yeah, some people do say it's on Michelle, but I don't think it is, right?
I don't hear.
I don't
12
think it
strings.
is.
Nah,
I don't hear 12
Michelle
string
has
at all.
definitely got some buried guitars on it, but I don't particularly think that that's on it. And so the case, the Maiden case is
There it
right
is.
there.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah.
The yellow
Metal.
inside.
And you can see.
And
the
there's
word-
another shot
Yeah, you can
we
see
can
the
see
word
the word,
Maiden on
right.
it.
There it is on the ground too.
There's a color photo in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Moving too fast.
There's a lot of pictures of it on
Yeah,
the
there
ground.
you go. That's the one.
There we go.
Here's the case. Yeah.
That's
Right
the case,
there.
and you can see
And-
the maiden on it.
Yeah, let me
Maton.
pull up the picture of the case as it is now.
I never knew what that case was from. You know, we speculated.
Would it fit George's Maton guitar that he was pictured on stage with in
No,
63?
no, definitely not.
It's an acoustic case?
Yeah, it's an acoustic case.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Where's this case? There it is.
There it is. Maton.
There.
In the skip, and right on the top was the guitar case. So we went out.
Yeah.
So on the
bad
bottom,
condition.
do you see the seam on the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The seam on the bottom is kind of ripped
Yeah.
up, and I could, when they lifted up the guitar, the thing kind of split, and you could see in the case.
So we went out and we got the guitar case and brought it in. And the reason was we found photographs of the case itself in the recording studio with Lennon. So it really is part of the story.
They're really going crazy with this music in here. But yeah,
Like a
so it's-
YouTube tutorial.
It's
type
really
thing.
cool that they had the case though, especially
Go
since
back to some of those pictures, Ryan, from Rubber Soul.
yeah, it's odd. Like, why is it in a Maiden case? And like we said, we have no clue if Framus even like made hard cases. Like maybe he got this case when he got the guitar, maybe not. We don't really know. But it shows up.
Like I said before, though, I don't think it's so unusual that the guitar case doesn't match the guitar. Sometimes they just say, this is the case we can give you for it, or do you want another case that's a little bit more money?
George
George has it there.
Capo on 5.
What song is that? That's
This
still
is
Michelle?
this is all Michelle. That's all I did this day.
They're working out parts. That's why
They got the pianette there too. That could have been interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good picture.
That's nice.
There it is.
Another one too. Yeah, that's funny. George with Paul, but he doesn't have a capo on it there.
Yeah, and then obviously we've mentioned before how the pickup was already moved in the J160 by this point.
I wanted to talk about Girl because the whole 12-string question is pretty interesting on Girl. Like, there's obviously the J160 with the capo at the 8th fret doing E minor, but then there's 2 lead guitars, well, at least in 2 different channels. So on the left channel, in the later verse, there's the... But the thing is, with a 12-string acoustic, if you played it like a normal way, like this, you get the octave strings on the G string, and you don't hear any octave played. So either it's one guitar going like this, which is a real stretch, or I think that left channel guitar is actually 2 guitars just doubled. It's like 2 6-string guitars doubled.
Well, what about the theory that it was a bouzouki?
What is
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a Greek instrument, the bouzouki, and they had just
Andy
gone to
Bouzouki,
Greece.
the author of Beatles gear.
Yeah,
No, I don't.
So they had just gone to Greece, and one of the Beatles did say there was one in the studio. So you'd have to look that up and clarify, but it's very possible it was a bouzouki.
I think the bouzouki's too small of a body. It's not big enough sounding like a normal guitar to get that tone, but it's possible.
It's got that 12-string sound.
So Sam, I agree with you on that. I think the 12-string is on the fade out on the last 30 seconds.
On the right channel doing the...
Yeah, I think it's in the right channel, yeah. It sounds... You can hear slight...
There is a video of someone playing it with a bouzouki online. I have it pulled up already.
You want to stream it?
Would you like me to stream it?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, give me a second.
Ryan, also, could you pull up the outtakes or like the takes of Girl to hear that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Those lead guitar.
Share sound.
Girl has got some weird stuff in the middle that probably should have been cut
All right,
out,
let me
but they
know.
forgot about.
Let me know
We're
when
going
you
to
guys
do a
are good.
shootout, an old-fashioned shootout.
Ooh,
It's too thin.
that's extremely close.
I know.
I think it's way too thin sounding.
It sounds closer to a banjo to me.
He plays it really well.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna
Shout out to
disagree. That's
Tony the
really
Turtle
close.
for that one. Yeah.
Can you
I
play
coulda
the
had-
Beatles isolation?
I could have had 100 attempts and I would have spelled that wrong every time. Bouzouki.
The other problem is that how the guy might have mixed it up against the music, and
You hear more bass in this track, I believe. I don't know about the bouzouki theory, but he played it really well.
oh wow,
That sounds like a 12-string to me.
I can't remember if that's the part that's on the right or the left.
I think it's actually pretty similar.
Yeah,
It's very similar.
Very similar.
That's 2 guitars overlaid.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's whatever
2
it is
guitars
doubled.
overlaid.
Because it's
So they found the
Yeah.
Hootenanny.
But
They did
But
find the
then
Hootenanny.
It was given away
So
right
so
after
all
Rubber
we can
Soul.
all we can say is that we're not actually sure that the Framus was used on this song. Leave it at that.
yeah.
We're not sure.
Not 100%.
So for the rest of
Right.
Rubber Soul, that's it, right? It's just Norwegian Wood and Girl. Is that right?
I've just seen a face.
Well,
That's not on Rubber Soul for us.
Oh,
American
okay.
release.
You guys aren't American?
No.
I'm pro-American.
For
Well,
what reason?
it all brings us though. Rubber Soul is the end of the Hootenanny because people didn't know that for sure until this news story was told, because apparently he gave it to Gordon of Peter and Gordon right after Rubber Soul. So
Yeah, late 65.
anything after Rubber Soul does not have a Framus as far as we know.
No Pauline Pam.
So yeah, let's talk about the songs that have.
Yes.
Let's go in order. Let's talk about the songs that have 12 string after this point that are acoustic. So
Fool on the
there's-
Hill.
Fool on the Hill is the next one, and then after that it's Polythene Pam and She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. And unless we're forgetting
Ryan,
something,
you have
that's-
a thing about Fool on the Hill, don't you?
I do, but let's skip forward and then we'll come back to that one just so we can understand
Okay.
why that possible guitar wasn't on Fool on the Hill.
I want to talk about Polythene Pam and Bathroom Window because that does feature a 12-string. And for years, people have been saying, "Oh, it's a Framus," and I don't think it's a Framus. There's no, and now with this coming out, there's no way it could have been a Framus.
Yeah,
So-
now we know.
And it's very sonically brighter than the Framus is.
It's
on any of the other
incredibly bright. So this is where I wanna talk about here. For ages, Grant Gerlach, my partner in crime, we've been trying to find this document. It's an insurance document, I think, or an invoice. When the Beatles got all their stuff from Fender. I think it may have been the second batch of stuff they got from Fender. On that list was a Fender Villager 12-string.
I can pull up what that
1968 Fender Villager 12-string. If anything, that would have most likely been what was used on Polythene Pam and Bathroom Window. Sonically, it's very similar. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really all you need to hear.
But there's also a couple other photos that I have. I think I sent them in that group chat, Ryan.
Yeah, do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, please. I
Oh wait,
can't get
I
it
don't know
up
if
on
I
my
have that.
Mac.
I'll just put it in post.
Okay. There's a couple of photos of John. There's one photo of John leaving a session in '69, and you can see he's holding a guitar. It's a Spanish-style headstock. It's all you can see, but it's got 12 strings on it. There's another photo of him and Yoko from some article. He's playing a 12-string, but it's like a super small body 12-string. It looks kind of weird. Again, I maybe I can just do it like this. Hold on. Is it on me? Oh, crap. Come on now. There you go. That's the photo. And then the next photo I have is this one. And she could barely see that. I don't know what he's playing there.
That's
but
a slotted neck, a slotted headstock, right?
yeah. Yeah. So those are our two contenders for Polythene Pam and Bathroom Window. I don't care what anyone says, it's not a Framus.
Definitely not.
I would agree. Now we have to agree.
yeah.
wait a second.
We have to.
So that
What?
thing that he's holding in that news article with Yoko is most likely that thing he was walking out with. Because looking at it, I didn't
Yeah.
see that picture for some reason that you sent. I only saw the other ones.
Yeah. They're the same guitar as what I'm
Yeah, that's gonna be
implying.
The same guitar.
Yeah.
I wonder what that
Yeah.
is.
Could be a Martin, maybe. I don't really know, but Martin sometimes had the slotted
You know,
headstocks, right?
call
Correct.
me crazy, but look at how wide that bridge is. That almost crazy ass Ryan. I honestly never even heard of a 12-string nylon. I thought he was making stuff up, but I guess it exists. If you ask me, that's looks like a 12-string nylon.
It could be. Yeah, I feel like the Fender Villager is probably more likely than that.
Well, because it was probably already in the studio at that point.
Right, because if you watch Get Back, you see George with a Fender Wildwood, like a 6-string version of that. So they were
So-
given a lot of stuff from Fender that they didn't really use too much, but
And that shipment
Grant
that the
and
Fender
I-
Villager supposedly came in was in early '69, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
can
Grant and I have been trying to track this stupid document down for years. Supposedly it was from an old Beak Gear Cavern thread, but I haven't heard much about it since.
So now this leads us back to Fool on the Hill. So we have this other Fender Villager 12-string, and because that showed up in 69, it's not the one that's on Fool on the Hill either. And we know it's not the Framus on Fool on the Hill. So Fool on the Hill is a little bit up in the air, but I have a fun little theory that, who knows if it's true or not, but it's possible. Which is that Fool on the Hill, it was recorded over, I want to say, the 25th and 26th of September 1967, and the overdub would have been on the 26th, which is that little there's a little 12-string part, which, should I even look it up, or
can you show us, because I actually don't know which part you're talking about. Is it the auto harp kind of ringing
no
thing,
it's a melody.
Has anyone covered this one on guitar?
The one guy who did it really well. All You Need Is Lub.
Oh yeah, Andrew.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
Andrew Lubman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a
He's
kick-ass
awesome.
He did a
version
great job of it.
Yeah.
That's the guitar.
Well on the way, head in a cloud.
Oh
That
yeah.
one.
Man of a thought.
So it's just that.
Wow. He did a good job.
Yeah, pull it up in an isolated.
of. He does incredible covers. He did a great one, A Birthday too.
Yeah,
He
with
did.
the
Where he actually had the mid
MRB.
the MRB. Yeah. What does that stand for?
Mid-range boost.
There you go.
On the piano? Yeah.
I don't know if it's getting isolated or not. Oh, there it is.
Is that possibly a 6-string?
No.
If it does,
I hear double.
I hear it doubled there.
He's hitting an open A and D.
There.
Yep.
This is a bit of a hidden one because some websites don't even point as this having a 12-string on it, but it definitely sounds like a 12-string. So
There are a
possible
couple of things about a 12-string that you should keep in mind. A, the Mellotron has a 12-string on it. B, they also used occasionally for guitars the what do you call the ADT. So it's also
there's an
possible
octave
that,
in there. There's an octave in there at one point. So it's
Okay,
definitely not
well
that.
then, forget what I just said.
Whatever guitar it is, it's very bright though.
Yeah. So my potential theory, when I looked up session dates, I realized the Hollies were also at EMI on the 26th, so the same day
It
this
always
was
comes
recorded.
back to the Hollies.
Yeah,
I
it
know.
has to. That's just the way history intended. So, and the Hollies had, what I've got, they had a Vox Folk 12. So it could be on this. I don't know how to play that part though.
So it's something like this.
Something like that. You can't hear me, can you? Something
Sounds
like that.
close.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's possible. I mean, the Hollies definitely did go talk to the Beatles while they were at EMI sometimes. They notoriously, earlier in '67, they filmed the On a Carousel video of them recording in the studio and then went over and watched, or it was on the same day that the Penny Lane solo was recorded, so they maybe went over and watched that. So they were familiar with each other.
That's it. That's it for 12 strings.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Which now leads us to 2024.
They found it.
He's they
Holy
found
crap! Look what I just found. Oh my god!
it. No way,
Holy
you got
gosh.
you. You dropped a lot of money on that, huh? Bought it at auction. $2 million guitar. They're thinking it's gonna fetch.
Okay,
What
so
day
you-
is
I'm gonna be paying off that card for a long time.
that probably
what
got
day is
loud.
the auction? Does anyone know?
Sometime in May, I think. So next
Actually,
month.
you'll be able to see the guitar if you go down to. It's going to be on display in
Where?
the Rock and Roll Cafe there in Times Square.
Crap.
I don't know
Let's
the
go.
dates.
My
I'll
birthday's
fly
in
out. Let's
May.
do it.
Just
Road
saying.
trip.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's going to be on display,
but-
and you don't have to pay anything either.
So I want to run down the list.
Hard
and
Rock Cafe.
Take a poll of each one of us on what we think it's going to sell for, and I think whoever gets it's like Price is Right. Whoever's the closest, I think we should. Each member has to do something, or something has to happen.
Are we disqualified if we go over, or how does it work?
I don't know. Whoever gets the closest.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you go over. Just got to get the closest to what it actually sells for. So
Okay.
whoever wants to go first.
You go, Paul.
All right.
I want to say
Yeah.
it's going to sell for $2.2 million.
I want to
I
look
say
up.
2.3, 2.4.
Hang on. I'm going to write this down. Well, even though it's in the video. So
I want to pull up the Jim
Yeah.
Irsay list of stuff he's bought to see what it's been going.
So,
what other
Hey
stuff it's been
Ryan,
going
for some reason you're not getting pinned whenever you talk.
It's because I have
So,
the sound on.
Paul is 2.2. Perry, you were the next one, right? What did you say?
Yeah, 2.3, 2.4, somewhere there.
All right, I'm going to put you 2.3. You want me to put you for that? I'll put you for a solid number. You got to pick one.
Okay, 2.4.
2.4. Okay. Who's next?
I'm gonna lowball it and say 1.1
All right.
because
That's
it's
real
still
low.
a Framus.
So you said 1.1. Okay. Who's next?
I'll go with. I don't want to say anywhere over 2 million. I would go with like 1.6.
So you're 1.6. Okay, that leaves us two left.
So John's J160, when it went for auction, the one that got lost in '63, that one went for 2.4 million. But that was like, what, 10 years ago? So I mean,
And you got to figure too, this factors into that. He technically didn't play that guitar that much.
Yeah.
yeah,
all.
but
It
it's
just
like
got
on.
stolen right
It's
away.
on like the first 4 singles, right?
That's it though.
Yeah, but it didn't appear in the movie either.
Yeah, I don't know. I just the J160 feels so much more iconic to me than the Framus
That
does.
Framus was technically used more than that first
Yeah.
J160.
I mean, that's not true because the J160 was played in concerts.
But but I'm saying recordings on songs.
No, that's not true either because the J1. I mean, longer time span maybe, but the J160 is on like all but 3 songs on "Please Please Me," and
But
then
that's
it's
it.
on
That's the only
a
album,
handful of
right?
stuff. But it's on with the Beatles too
The Beatles.
because it's on
But
"Till
John
There
and
Was
George
You"
both
and
played the Framus.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
right.
that's true.
That definitely does add to it. I mean, they possibly.
So what's
both
your
played.
number?
Well, I was originally going to go real low, but then I remembered that John's 6120 that he used on Paperback Writer and maybe Rain, or maybe I have that flipped. But that's it. I guess maybe Angel Bird can sing, but that's another story.
What did it go
That
for?
one went for 600,000, which seems really high for one that basically no one knows anything about. I don't know. I kind of feel like the fact that it's a 12-string acoustic, I don't know. I feel like it's just not going to go for as much as it would if it was a 6-string.
600,000
Well-
back then is $1 million today. Keep that in
Right.
mind,
I
too,
do
in
think it'll be over
2015.
$1 million. I don't know.
I mean,
it,
Kurt Cobain's acoustic sold for the record, I think, didn't it?
That was outrageous.
well, what did his Mustang sell for?
Oh, the Skystang 1 or
The one in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video.
yeah, it was
$4.5 million.
that
And I
is
think that was
freaking
also
insane.
bought by
Why?
Jim Irsay, right?
Yes. It's
Uh,
iconic. That's
Oh
for
wait, no,
sure.
it says the winning bidder this time was not the competition. Oh, Jim Irsay currently owns it, but the other it was some Japanese guy got it first.
So what's your guess?
I don't think it's gonna be that much. I'll say 1.6 million.
So you're same as Dom though.
Oh, did he say 1.6?
Yeah.
I don't want to, but I go a
Bandwagon.
little higher. I'll say 1.8.
All right,
I really
Michael.
don't think it should sell for that much, but it might.
So the lowest guess is Sam right now, 1.1.
Yeah.
Gonna say 1 even.
1 even.
Wow.
Price is Right rules.
He's going
Question.
for the $1 move.
Question: What is the most memorable scene in the Help movie?
Him sitting on the couch playing. I think.
There you go.
God, you love it.
There
When
you go.
Paul is strumming the girl. That's
Nah.
Oh, when he hits her boob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
He goes-
I agree. I think the thing, you know, I feel like it's different value for different people, but I feel like a true hardcore. Now I'm saying anybody else in this group isn't a hardcore Beatles guy, but just knowing what that thing has been through, for me, yeah. I mean, that's more than that J160.
Ooh. One thing we forgot to talk about. That guitar was played by Gordon Waller on November 3rd, 1965, on the TV show, The Music of Lennon and McCartney.
Oh, you're
A
right,
World
yeah.
Without Love.
yeah, because that was the same. It might be the second. I'm not sure.
Do we have pictures of
Was
video
it?
of that?
Yeah, there's a video.
Yes.
Of it,
Yeah.
I
Well,
forgot
you don't have to
And it
bring
was
it up
played
if you
by
wanna
Paul.
if you want to just play it over it, that's fine.
I
too.
can just show you.
It
It'll
was
be
played
really
by
easy to
Paul
find.
for rehearsals on yesterday. And there's video of that as well.
Oh, I
So,
didn't know that.
numerous famous people have played this.
All
Well,
three
I mean,
guitar-playing
Gordon
Beatles
also
are
owned it,
on
but-
camera playing it.
There you go.
Oh wow, oh yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No, and I've seen this video
Wow.
before too. Didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Wow.
All right, now
Wait.
go to the one of Paul playing it. Look.
Giga Chad's just chilling over here. Hurry up.
You got that Giga Chad energy, Paul.
It actually says that recording for music of Lennon and McCartney was November 1 and 2, and then November 3 was those Michelle
Right.
pictures that we were looking at. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Maybe Gordon was like, "Hey, I like this thing. Can I have it?"
And they were like,
We're
no,
talk-
we're going to use
you're-
it again.
You're talking November of '65, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
So this
also,
was-
this is the last appearance of the Tennessean because it got smashed like a day later or something.
Wow.
Or maybe it was like a month later. I can't remember what we decided on.
I found it. Hold on a
See.
minute. Get ready to soil yourselves.
Drum roll.
I already have. All right.
Is there audio?
You ready? Yeah. Well, it's just the record.
Okay.
It's overdubbed. All right, ready?
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't think
Oh
this is a
my
rehearsal.
God.
This is probably actually in the thing.
That's right. Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's
in the-
crazy.
Good
Wow.
catch.
yeah, he's
Fine
playing
now.
it in the.
Oh
Tom,
my
where did
God.
You find that?
That's amazing.
Dude, I found this ages ago. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, you could see
Oh
the
yeah, definitely.
the pick guard and the.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Oh
How
my
is there
God.
something new coming out every day about this group?
Hang on,
It's
let me
incredible.
I know.
right?
let me go back to the. Oh, where was it? I lost it.
Oh, that's Discord Go. Yeah. Nope. We don't need
I
that.
just want to pull up because I think this is higher res.
That was wild. Just seeing that was wild.
I'd
Pretty
never
cool,
seen that
isn't it?
Before.
Never
Yeah,
saw that.
really.
No.
Really cool.
Because that's surely just in the regular special, right?
No, it was cut out. I think.
You think it was cut out
I think so.
right here?
Oh my God, is it actually in the?
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's clearer there too.
The tailpiece is gleaming.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? It's been in this whole time.
Oof. Oof.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, Michael,
They
you
should
know
have
what
cut
this.
it.
Well, no, but the whole thing,
Well,
that whole
that's-
special is about people covering them.
It was
Yeah.
ruined.
Transition.
They ruined it.
We
Yeah.
didn't also talk about the fact that Ringo now has played the Hootenanny as well.
All four
I
of
don't
the
even-
Beatles.
Yeah.
I don't
Here's
look
my
at these
Ringo
pictures again.
imitation.
Do you
Perry,
think he
you are the
remembers
only
it at
person
all?
on the planet to have done that, besides Ringo.
Can we show the pictures though? They're kind of
Oh
sweet.
gosh.
You can tell just the
guess
way
so.
he holds
Have
the
some
guitar.
emotion, Ryan. This is big.
There it is.
It was like,
There we
yeah.
go. That's good enough.
Yeah.
You
Well,
should
that's one
open
of
the
them,
video
yeah.
with that. That should open the video.
Oh, why?
Can that be in the thumbnail?
Actually, well, this is actually kind of interesting now that I think about it. How many other Beatles instruments do we have photos of every one of them holding?
None.
The Rickenbacker, the DB122, the 64 Rick.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the Hofner.
Wait, when did
Hofner.
Ringo hold
Yeah.
that Rickenbacker?
Oh, there's the Rickenbacker. No, I'm talking about the Hofner.
Ringo
There's a
holds
couple
the Hofner
photos.
and the D28 in Get Back.
That's
Yeah.
John's
Wait.
D28.
Dom, when does Ringo hold the 64 Rick?
Oh boy, you're gonna send me on another mission.
No, I think
Oh,
Dom's
yeah.
right. I think I've seen him hold that too.
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've seen it.
I've
too.
seen him
Oh,
hold
he's
the,
smoking
the
a cigarette.
96.
Remember he's
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one where he's holding 96?
I've seen him hold the
Yeah.
1996, but I don't know if I've seen him hold the other one.
But also
yeah, he has a
the
cigarette in his
the
hand, and it's up high.
yeah,
on
it's
him.
this. Hold on, it's this one. Give me- Here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
this one.
okay. I've never seen
Yeah.
that one before.
So
Yeah.
that's true. Okay, you got me there. You know, well, you didn't get me.
But it's
Well,
you know,
really,
Thanks for making
my.
my comment not
Yeah.
special.
get out of here, Ryan. You're fired.
I'm not enough of an expert.
Well, I don't think we could have done this one without Perry because he actually
Absolutely.
owns
Yeah.
Framus.
I didn't contribute much. You guys knew more than me.
How much do they go for now? If you can find one, like 5,000 or 6,000.
Too much.
I paid 7 for mine.
Wow.
And I seen one for sale was up for 15,000 for a while. I kind of think it's one of those things where it depends on how clean it is and who's really looking for it. You know, like Perry's example that he has, since it's probably the cleanest right next to the real one, only other one
Yeah.
too, and with the date range and everything else. I mean, Perry could technically just ask whatever he wants for it, and whoever's willing to buy it will buy it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
one-
definitely it's gone up in price since this discovery for
Definitely.
sure.
Just to stick it in there right at the end, I did want to talk about other notable 60s people who used them. A Hootenanny or just other Framus guitar, because they weren't that commonly used, I don't think. So I have a clip. The really nice clip I have is from the Four Pennies, them doing a cover of Roy Orbison, and is this a Camping King or Campus King
Yeah.
with a pickup in it? So just kind of interesting.
How do we know it's a Camping King? How
It
do we know
actually
it's a
might not
Camping
be
King?
because it has a slotted
Slotted-
headstock. Oh,
The
just
slotted
can't-
headstock. Yeah.
Because the thing about Framus is they came in all sorts of configurations. They had Hootenannies had slotted headstocks. They weren't all the same, and they had trapeze tail pieces versus. So like I know that because when I did my video, I found all these pictures of different configurations that were still Hootenannies.
Huh. Yeah, I was never really sure. The other notable one is
Ray Davies.
there's him with
It says that's a Camping
one with
King.
one with a pickup. Yeah,
Because then it's for sale, as you can see on the right hand side, vintage and rare. Yeah.
yeah.
He's
And
on a lot of good songs. Well-Respected Man, Picture Book, Village Green Preservation. That song.
yeah. So that's kind of cool. The other one is Tony Hicks uses one on Beat Club. This doesn't show up in any other Holly's stuff, so I don't really know how much they used it. I have a theory that it was used on Bus Stop, but this is a difficult riff to play for this type of guitar, I would think. Let's see. And I was always confused how the knob goes through the pickguard. But yeah, like Perry said, weird configurations. Oh, and then they start really zoomed in on it, which is really.
Oh.
I was thinking about that with the knob going through the pickguard thing, and I just lost my hearing, so I don't know whether I can hear you guys because my pods just went out. But you'll hear me. Maybe it was placed that way just to have a better reach for a quick volume change. That's the only reason I would think that they could put something in such a weird place.
Yeah, it's definitely
Probably.
Because it's right by your strumming head.
But so a handful of people had them. But yeah.
There
very
you go.
interesting guitar.
They found the Framus.
The Framus.
Paul and Perry have Framus, but for the rest of us, we have to use other 12 strings to do these Beatles covers. So go watch Perry's channel to see the real deal. Or Paul.
Or if you're an avid fan and you want to donate us some Framus guitars to fill out our collections, feel free.
If you can find one. They're actually, I think, one of the hardest guitars to find. I mean, I'd looked for years to find my first one, and it wasn't even complete. It was just the body with no hardware. So I honestly think it's one of the rarest guitars and hardest ones to find in the Beatle collection.
Well, I know one that's going to be on sale pretty soon.
So if you want to donate to the channel, donate potentially $2 million to the channel. Buy us John Lennon's Framus Hootenanny.
Calling all mega donors.
We'll give you a shout out if you donate $2 million.
Calling all zaddies.
We'll let you play one chord on it.
Well, I think that about wraps this episode up. Thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Take
Perry.
care, guys.